I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
It's a twister! It's a twister!
I imagine right now you're feeling a bit like Dorothy, landing in Oz in a realm that just does not feel quite like home. I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who does not accept what he sees, because he suspects everything his eyes present to him is a lie. Ironically, this is very close to the truth. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know, you cannot explain, but you can feel it. You have felt it your entire life, that something is wrong with this world, that has been presented to you with the full expectation that you accept it and never question it. You don't know completely what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind driving you mad. It is this feeling that brought you here to me, to now, to a choice. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you want to know what it is? It is the supernatural image and word of God. It is all around us right now, even in your very room where you are sitting at this moment. You can see it when you peer into the mirror at your own reflection, or when you take a photo of a friend. You can feel it when the sun shines, or when a wave in the sea crashes upon you. You can taste it when you bite into an apple, and see it when you tear open a fruit. You can feel it when you caress a woman, or when a woman caresses you. And you can see it upon the woman's body, the breasts, the buttocks, and eyes alike. It is there when you speak or when you take a breath. You can hear it when the great owl screeches, or see it written upon his face. You can see it coming when a whirlwind is nearly upon you, and hear it when the thunder rolls. And you can feel it when the wind blows. It is the world that exists beyond the veil. It must be perceived with the mind before the eye can see it. A world that no one ever informed you of, yet you know it's there. If you speak of it, others will say you're crazy, for you must believe what they believe. Like everyone else, you were born and introduced and convinced of a false reality, a false world, a prison world designed so that you would not see, hear, smell, taste, or touch the supernatural reality of the true world. They built a prison for your mind and a hell for your soul, and they pray to their gods that you will never wake up. Unfortunately, no one can be shown what the supernatural world is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. You hit the back button, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you believed before this moment. Or you continue watching and you cross beyond the veil. And I will show you what is behind the wizard's curtain. Remember, all I am offering you is the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. It is now time to choose. Go back now or continue beyond the veil.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
I don't know, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint of your answers.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Operation Sky Eye. In the last video I did of Operation Sky Eye, I put a theory, you might call it, out there about a coming plan, an alien deception plan that's coming. And they're preparing for it. Many people, lots of money, and lots of technology is currently being built and put in place. Today, I'm going to take you through more information. I've shown you and talked to you about the technology and how it works, the holographic technology and how it's tied to the noble gases that are in the heavens above in layers. I've talked to you about the possible alien images of turning the sky into a screen where they may be able to project just about anything in the heavens above, and then also have actual crafts that they already have built that have already been sighted by many people. The TR-3B, I have seen one of these with my own eyes, up close and personal. Not like getting on board or seeing it parked. I've seen it flying at nighttime. So I talked to you about those things. I talked to you about the global network of technology companies, satellite technology companies. All of these satellite technology companies listed here are putting satellites by the thousands, as you can see here, in the heavens above us. I've talked to you about the governmental organizations that are involved in countries all around the world that are putting up satellites. Different types of satellites, different pieces of a complete puzzle that is being assembled I've got some new slides for you here that we're going to be going over. A number of new slides. I'm going to go over all of these here with you today. First, I normally give credit to the sponsor of today's information, today's knowledge dump that I'm gathering for you. Unfortunately, in the last, since my last video, there have been no sponsors of the next video. But at the end, I will credit the ones at the end of the show today. I will credit the ones that have sponsored for the month of May so far. So let's look at this. This is a list of companies that are involved in the holographic industry, being able to project real life images that look like they're there from every angle, but are not there. The technology exists. You have all these different companies here. And I went over some of this last time. There are some companies that are doing both, like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Axis Aerospace. They're doing all of it. And then you've got new companies that are coming into play, like Holoxica, Looking Glass Factory, Hologram Industries, Holo Builder, Holo Light, Vision. Tons of information here that I've researched and put all together for you and put into what I consider a very professional presentation. You've got also industry partners, by no surprise, like Microsoft, Google, like Google Light Field, volumetric capture, AR and VR. You've got Sony, Panasonic, Displayer, all into the holographic imagery industry, working with companies and organizations like NASA, DARPA, ESA, and JAXA, governmental organizations. But I wanted to take it a few steps further for y'all guys. I wanted to take a look and follow the money. Anytime you're dealing with investigating and looking into something like this, there are several key components. One of them is follow the money. Sources of funding. Government funding and agencies like NASA, U.S. Space Force, NRO, ESA, JAXA, and a large list of others. Venture capital firms, Sequoia, A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, Lightspeed, Bain Capital, private equity firms like Blackstone, Carlyle Group, KKR, Silver Lake, Warburg, asset management like BlackRock. The previous one was Blackstone. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. They're all funding these things. Government-backed funds and development banks. U.S. Exim Bank, EIB, CAF, KFW, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, National Development Funds. Corporate investors like Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Qualcomm, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Airbus, and others, a lot of others. Public markets and capital markets like IPOs, secondary offerings, bonds, convertible notes, or where all the money flows, A lot of it is flowing into the satellite industry and the holographic industry. You've got high net worth individuals and family offices that are also involved in funding these, like, of course, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Peter Thiel. You got family offices like sovereign wealth funds and a number of others. You've got also grants, research funds, and nonprofits that are participating in this as well. So who are they funding? Well, of course, they're funding, you can see the little arrows that I've got connected here to the different groups. SpaceX being funded by the government and being funded by private equity like Blackstone. You've got Amazon being funded by venture capital and also by private equity funds. You've got OneWeb. These are all satellite companies that are putting satellites up all around the world by every government that has any capability at all. So OneWeb is being funded by venture capital and also by asset management giants like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, Fidelity, Capital Group, Invesco, and PIMCO. Planet. Again, this one is actually being funded by the government and also by private equity. Iridium is being funded by private equity and also by government-backed funds and development banks. Eutelsat is being government funded, and they're also receiving funds from private equity like Blackstone. Maxar Technologies, again, another satellite imaging and space infrastructure company, being funded by venture capital and also being funded by government-backed funds as well and development banking. ICEYE, let me get a little drink of water. ICEYE being funded by venture capital and also being funded by corporate investors. Rocket Labs being funded by asset management and also by government-backed funds and development banks. Blue Origin being funded by asset management giants like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and so on, and also by public markets and capital markets like IPOs and bonds and stocks and things like that. Then you've got ULA. This is a launch services company, and they're being funded by the government and being funded by high net worth individuals like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Peter Thiel, and so on. AST, Space Mobile, being funded by asset management giants, again, like BlackRock, and also by high net worth individuals. Then you've got China Satellite Networks, and that is being funded by multiple different directions. One is public markets like bonds and stocks and things like that, and then also by corporate investors, and then also by asset management giants like BlackRock, yes, in China. So you've got all of that capital, all the investor funding flowing into these companies and projects to create this global network. It's going to be used for a lot of things, not just holographic and faking a space invasion, but much more things, like ground penetrating radar, like tracking objects on the ground where there's no place to hide, no place to go outside of some kind of high-tech Faraday cage or something like that. So you got a list of holographic companies on this side. And who are they being funded by? Well, they're being funded by the same organizations that I just read to you that are funding the satellite companies and the launch companies, space companies, okay? All these are being funded by them, like Leah, VividQ, Lightfield Lab, Real Fiction, Waxon Photonics, Zebra Imaging, Hypervision, Alexa, Looking Glass Factory. Remember the movie Alice in Wonderland? Looking through the looking glass. Also Hollow Builder, Hollow Light, and Sci Vision. All being funded by the same people, the same organization. But who are the people? Who are the humans that are involved? Well, let's take a look. Who are the humans that are involved? When it comes to the governmental agency kind of thing, you got Bill Nelson, of course, NASA. He is head administrator at NASA. You've got Heidi Shue, Deputy Secretary of Defense for the U.S. Department of Defense. You've got Stephanie Tompkins, Director of DARPA. You've got B. Chance Saltzman, or General B. Chance Saltzman, Chief of Space Operations for the U.S. Space Force. You've got Chris Scoles, Director of National Reconnaissance Office, which they're involved in a lot of secret launches and satellite packages, as they might call it. Then you've got the people like Larry Fink with BlackRock, Asoshi Sun with SoftBank, Vinod Khosla with Khosla Ventures, Mark Anderson with Anderson Horowitz, Dmitry Bosani, CEO at Bosani Asset Management. Then you've got all your tech platform influencers like Amazon, NVIDIA, Apple, like Tim Cook at Apple. You've got Google. You've got, of course, Microsoft. All these guys are in the play. They're building out one piece of this big puzzle, all separated by design so that no one company or no one group knows what the overall bigger project is. It's the way that the military controls things you're going to be on a need-to-know basis. You're just getting your big fat paycheck to be part of this ecosystem of influence. People, companies, capital, government, technology control the future. If we look over here on the technology side, of course, we've got SpaceX, Amazon, of course, Elon Musk and David Limp and Neil Masterson, Will Marshall at Planet, Matt Dersh at Iridium, Dan Blonsky, I believe, and the CEO of Maxar Technologies, Rafal Nardarsky, CEO of IceWall. You've got Peter Beck. He is the founder and CEO of Rocket Lab. David Limp, CEO of Blue Origin. Tori Bruno, President and CEO of ULA, which is United Launch Alliance. You've got Abel Avian, founder and chairman and CEO of AST Mobile Space. And you've got China Satellite Networks with Yu Zhong as the chairman of that organization. It's the same individuals and investors and agency that form the backbone linking the satellite infrastructure, holographic technologies together with money and power. I hope that you can see what I'm showing you here. Now, anytime you're looking at something like this, you have to go back and you have to think about predictive programming. Like, I remember when I first started researching this many years ago, I wanted to know what were some of the first movies ever made. Well, the third movie, the third motion picture, no sound, in black and white, the third movie ever made in 1902 was called A Trip to the Moon. And they went to the moon, and guess who was there? Aliens. Aliens. You know, there's a lie in it. Aliens. They name things for a reason. Names are based on attributes of something. Okay? So you have A Trip to the Moon in 1902. Basically the first alien movie or moving picture ever done. The first television show was 1959. That was the main one that focused on it a lot, which was The Twilight Zone. We all remember that one, right? And then throughout time, as you can see here by this chart, throughout time, there have been more. You can see the first movie here in 1902, and then Twilight Zone in 1959, and then it really started ramping up. Really started ramping up. Why? Because where this ramp starts is where the people that are still alive today are influenced. You see, this big ramp is here because the event that they're going to try to pull off, and they will pull it off at some level or another, will happen during the period of our lifetime. If you're here and you're still alive right now, get ready. Because by 2030, this stuff is going to go down. They've got all these companies, if you look into them, which I have, they all have this common theme of having their constellation, their satellites, everything done by 2030. Why is that a repeating theme that they want to have it all done by 2030? Well, it's 2026, in case you didn't know. And if you didn't know also, there have been a lot of things, like in the media, like in the government, talking about maybe releasing things, like in on the internet, things happening where people record it, all kind of things, like the Miami Mall thing, right? Where they said there were giants that all of a sudden appeared down there, right? Tons of different events that are going on. And what I have here is, because there's no way to fit it all on here, is a list of different movies throughout the last century, basically. All the way from the 1900s, the 1903, A Trip to the Moon, and then going all the way forward to today, basically. And then here is all television shows, and there's a lot of them. Why do you think, or who do you think invented the word alien? And it stuck. Why create this genre of these beings from outer space that live on some rock out there somewhere that's going to come here and they're going to do something? Come here maybe claiming to be our God. We created you. That's about what the new movie coming out looks like. Disclosure Day? Yeah. And we'll take a look at a little bit from that upcoming movie, because it's coming out very soon here, along with a number of other movies. I put a few in here that have been announced. I'm not sure. I didn't take the time to look and see if every one of these have been released yet. But there's like Alien Earth is a series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and Earth Abides, a series also as well in television. And just an unlimited amount of movies that we all remember, like E.T., the Terminator. You know, he came from outer space, came down in a ball of light, kind of like all the light orbs everybody's seeing, related to that kind of in a way. Come down in a ball of light, remember the movie, trying to think of the name of it. It was about a man, or excuse me, an orb that came down out of the sky, crashed on the earth, and then this man or this deity that was in it came, transformed himself into a man because he fell in love with a woman on the other side of the lake from where he crash landed. Like fallen angel kind of thing. I can't think of the name of it. I know some of you are saying it right now. But of course, we all remember Aliens. Remember the movie Alien? The Alien movies? We all remember They Live. Most of us do. That was about aliens as well. Independence Day, Men in Black, Signs, War of the Worlds, District 9, Rise of the Planet of Apes, World War Z, Arrival, Life, No One Will Save You, Nope, and The Creator. All these different movies. All these different movies. And all these different TV shows. All spiking, increasing greatly in the number of them that are coming out, signifying, like for instance, this movie, signifying what is to come. Look how they managed to use the eye. And I didn't plan it that way, but I decided to call my series of videos here that I'm producing to bring some knowledge to y'all guys. I decided to call it Operation Sky Eye. And here they go using the image of the eye. And it's about aliens. And about like, from what I can tell, it looks like some aliens coming that are going to say that they created us and they're here to save us from ourselves, right? This is the kind of thing. I'll try to play some of this here, very little short pieces of it in a moment here. But first, I wanted to take a look at this, which is aliens and supernatural events that made the news or went viral since I just put the timeline on of 2020 because you can't go back further than that and be able to see anything because there's too much. Y'all guys remember all the videos of the flashing lights? People seeing flashing lights, like all the cars flashing in a parking lot, or all the buildings and at the shopping mall were flashing, or just all kind of different flashing lights going on. That's part of it. They're doing it. They have the ability, because what they did is all of the lights that have been created in the last 5 to 10 years, all these LEDs, okay? Why do you think they switched to the LEDs? Well, it was going to make your electric bill go down. Anybody's electric bill go down? No. They went up, didn't they? But now we're using LEDs. Why? Because LEDs can be influenced by a magnetic field. And it doesn't have to be a magnetic field that somebody's creating or releasing within a close distance. It can be from a satellite. A satellite above can project enough energy into a single location onto the ground to be able to make lights do all kinds of crazy things. Because all of the current lights and lighting systems that we're currently using now can be affected by EMFs. The incandescent bulb, remember that one had a little filament in it? It couldn't be affected. It doesn't work. But they made us get rid of that one. Why? They wouldn't lie to us, would they? No, they wouldn't lie to us. So, of course, we all know, going back into January and the beginning of 2020, we all remember the thing about them talking about the Tic Tac UFOs, right? Yep. And also in that same year, a lot of people were talking about the Black Knight satellite that was claimed to be an alien satellite that was floating around the earth and was up there all the time, right? Then we had Skinwalker Ranch and all kinds of crazy things going on there. And the television people like the History Channel picking up on that and going out there and filming. Then we had also in December of 2020 was the wow signal. Remember that? That came back into focus again, and it also came back into focus again just less than a year ago, because Atlas, some of the so-called renowned scientists, said that they had a theory that Atlas was actually, Comet Atlas, that it was actually the object that produced the wow signal. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you can look it up. It was from 1977 is when it was recorded, supposedly. And it was supposedly sent to us from outer space. Then 2021, Pentagon releases UFO report. Do you remember that? It really didn't say that much, but that was in 2021, 5 years ago. And then China had the alien mummy doll. Do you remember that? Looking that up and seeing it? Strange alien-looking mummy doll from China. I remember seeing and hearing some things about it. And then the USS Omaha UFO encounter, remember? It came out in 2021, but supposedly the event happened in 2019, where there was like an entire battle group that was involved, and all these supposed crafts came buzzing around them and all this kind of thing. It's all part of the setup that's coming. They're slowly pushing a little faster, because they're trying to create belief in your mind that aliens is real. They're not. There is no other beings coming from no other planet. Now, there are supernatural things. Okay? There are supernatural things, angels, demons, but they have been here forever, as long as we've been here. Okay? Then in December 2021, they did the James Webb Space Telescope that was put into the search for alien life was its mission. The James Webb Space Telescope. If you look that up, that's what they said they did it for. Then if we go and we continue looking, there were all kind of things going on. During the beginning of the Ukraine war, was called the Ghost of Kiev, and talked about reports of a mysterious pilot defending Kiev, and it wasn't supposedly a real plane. It was something flying in the heavens that was fighting off fighter jets and other things like that. Y'all guys remember the Phoenix lights? That was a little bit longer ago than the period that I'm looking at, but remember the Phoenix lights? And then in 2022, May of 22, there was the Marana, Arizona UFO sightings with these lights, as you can see, all in a line. I've seen that numerous times with my own eyes, standing no more than 100 feet from them, lining up. At the beaches and on the mountaintops, I've seen them, and other places, but primarily on the water or on a mountaintop. It's all about energy. It's where they're attracted to the most, the energy. And then in July of 22, you had the UFO hearing in the Congress held the hearing. Remember that? Just a few years ago? And supposedly a bunch of really strange things going on around Queen Elizabeth's death. Okay. And then in October of 2022, there was a big surge in people into the Anunnaki theory. Anunnaki, which is simply another name for the same beings that have been here and repeat this cycle coming and going throughout time, because time repeats itself, or rather it rhymes with itself. And in January of 2024, which I've got some 2023 ones here, but I'll go ahead and cover this. January 2024. You've got, remember the balloons, Chinese balloons, those big, huge balloons? Literally one of them, the one that they shot down over the ocean, floated right over my head. I even took some video of it. I don't know where the video's at now. It's been years ago, or not that long ago, but I didn't think about pulling it up or trying to find it. But remember those big balloons, and everybody was tripping out over that? And then there was a lot of talk too, as well, about during the eclipse. There was a lot of talk about a lot of things that happened during the eclipse, or eclipses. There was all kind of strange things that went on and that were recorded, black flying entities that were flying around. And matter of fact, I'll cover that more in detail here. So February 2023, again, the Chinese spy balloon stuff. Mexican Congress in April of 2023 released a report on non-human bodies that they claimed they had found down there. That was the Mexican Congress releasing that. You can go look it up. And then in July of 2023, you had the Peru alien mummies that were images of them were released as well. And they were said to not be human. You can go look that stuff up. It just continues to be put out there. Now, is any of this stuff true? Not much of it. There are supernatural things that happen, and I've talked about them on many, many videos. I've had many experiences. I've had experiences with orbs the size of Volkswagens up close, as close one time as 25 foot above my head. But over a period of probably 16 years, I've probably had 150 experiences, and more than half of those were as close as 100 foot in front of me. Multiple different orbs of light appearing in front of me and other people with me on a regular basis for a long time, and recently even, as a matter of fact. And then December 2023, there was the school alien threat. Remember that? Multiple school districts across the United States received viral alien threats. Supposedly, they claimed they were hoaxes, but they caused a lot of panic and lockdowns. That was just a few years ago. And then January 2024, there was the UFO sightings over the military bases again. Okay. And not just over military bases, but remember they were saying there was drones and orbs, and they were everywhere, all especially up around New Jersey, but in a lot of different places. And that caught a lot of attention. You remember that? And then March 2024, or right after, or right around that eclipse there, again, we had more of the things being recorded during an eclipse. And I even remember the eclipse, it going dark twice. And many of you confirmed that. If you would, in the comments, confirm that again if you remember it going dark twice during the eclipse. Now, I wasn't in an area of totality, but ours was about like 85-90%. But it got dark, then it got lighter again, and then it got dark. And we're not talking about clouds because we didn't have any. Okay. And it just continues like we had in May 2024. Had, like I said a while ago, more mummies and stuff. And then you had Las Vegas alien bodies that was on exhibit, actually in Vegas, which was crazy. And then alien sightings and reports of all kinds of crazy things have continued to go up and surge, right? I even put together a chart here from 2020 to now based on actual real numbers, the best I could get. And as you can see, again, trending upwards, substantially trending upwards. So let's take a look at disclosure. Of course, I can't play it for copyright reasons. This is a new movie coming out and they would be all over me. But I can jump around in it a little bit, and I'll try to do that. And I've got the closed captions on, so that way we can read what's being said, so we don't have to let it keep playing in order to be able to hear it. But you can see the image of an eye, what looks like in the sky. And some of you already know that the sun, if you Google and pull up a full solar halo and spend just a little bit of time and start looking at the imagery of the sun, you'll find out that under the right conditions, the sun is an eye. The sun itself is the pupil, and all of the rest of the eye it's all there, including everything basically. When the sun comes up in the morning, the eyelid is shut, and as the sun comes in closer and rises above us, the eyelid completely opens, just like yours does when you wake up in the morning and get woke up good. It is a real thing. You can Google full solar halo if you want to see that. So let's try to take a look. Maybe I should turn off the sound and just see what they're saying. What did you steal? This is a guy that supposedly works for the government, and he's supposed to protect secrets about their knowledge of aliens, okay? And of course, he's standing here looking in the looking glass. He's looking in a reflection. Just like the mirror represents and can produce a reflection of an image, so can the sky do that as well. I can give you an example. We'll look at some more of that here in just a minute. But if we go to, I've talked to you a lot about noble gases. Let's just type in beautiful sunset, right? This beautiful sunset. Now, we've always just accepted it for what it is, right? But what do you think creates all of these colors that we see in these pictures here? What do you think that is creating it? Well, there's a lot of different things. But for instance, our blue sky is produced by the excitation, the ionizing of a noble gas called neon. There are layers of these noble gases above us in the heavens. They concentrate in layers and they don't mix with other gases. That's why they're called noble, meaning they're so good or so perfect, they don't associate with other gases. They only associate and concentrate with other of their like kind. Like neon is only in a layer with neon. the sky, the blue sky, the skylight, meaning the sky, the blue sky, that is a different light, and it's produced by the excitation of neon in the heavens. The sun itself ultimately is likely the cause of the excitation, but it causes the noble gas of neon to be excited, and it causes it to glow. You see, neon and the other gases here produce various shades of colors when they're excited. Neon, argon, krypton, xenon, helium, all these gases are above our heads in different layers and produce different shades of colors. And this is how your sky does what it does. And they know this because all inventions when it comes to technology are based on studying of nature. If you study the heavens and you have plenty of money and plenty of time and plenty of people, you can discern how it works. Just like they understand about the noble gases. They understand how all these things work. And then they build technology to take advantage of. It's called knowledge from the tree of good and evil. You can gain these great knowledges in this world, but then you have to choose what are you going to use it for, good or evil. Well, in our world at this time, it's being used for evil, for the high most part. There's lots of beautiful sceneries there. So let's keep going. So the sky is a reflection. Talking about water. Water's above, water's below, if that means anything to you. Let's keep going. It says what he stole, he stole secrets. Let's jump forward a little bit. He's showing her something about the aliens. And she asks, are they people? And he says, no, they're not people. In this scene, he is out in a hayfield, basically, and everything starts, basically a crop circle starts forming around him while he's standing there, as you can see. Let's keep going. And of course, they go with Steven Spielberg because this Disclosure Day movie is really important. Just like back in 2019, right before we had the planned demonic, the thing where they try to talk everybody into, getting a snake bite. They told us, but with media, predictive programming, not only told us that the planned demonic was coming, they told us that we'd be wearing masks. They told us that we'd be getting snake bites. They told us that we'd be staying home. The movie played out exactly like what happened. And then, of course, we had Event 201 that was in October of the previous year. Event 201, remember that? It was John Hopkins and Bill Gates and all those cronies. They got together and did a tabletop exercise and played it out right there for everybody to see before the event ever happened. And then you had Fauci, who came out months before the event, like 6 months, and stated on video, which I have, and I've shown you guys before, that during the presidency of the first presidency of Mr. T that there would be an outbreak. You know, a planned demonic. They tell us, but they do this from, in my opinion, it's their way of kind of like getting the blood off their hands. Because if you're not intelligent enough to be able to see the things like I'm trying to show you here, then you, in their mind, you deserve to perish or be used. Like right now, they're spreading a lot of rumor and stuff about a new planned demonic that's started out on a ship, and the people from that ship and the people that got exposed, they just decided to ship them all back to their own countries and everything. And will it catch grip and run? Well, I don't know for sure because I haven't really looked into it yet. But if it does, once again, it will not be an actual thing that can get you. The only thing that can get you is fear or believing lies and allowing yourself to react to these things. Okay? They'll tell you, we'll save you. Like Operation Warp Speed did that Mr. T put out. Right? They're going to have a solution in a year when, of course, they already had that solution in place and sitting in a warehouse, ready to be flown all over the world like a bunch of locusts that do sting. Yep. So let's keep going. And this is the scene where she's a news anchor, she's doing the weather, and she trips out and starts doing something really strange with her voice, and it's a bunch of clicking. Okay? Clicking sounds. We've already seen a lot of really strange sounds that people have recorded over the last decade coming from the heavens. I imagine a lot of you have seen the videos. Sound like trumpets, sounded like all kinds of things coming from above. Until Father finally decides to have his day, Father in heaven. Until that day arrives, these other things like this, they're man-made. They're being produced by satellite or some other kind of technology or device is how they're doing it. They can do it even with things like harp. You see that the world that we live in is literally like a harp in a way. It is a magnetic frequency prism, basically. And when you start trying to manipulate those strings, those bands or strings in all of this, it will and can produce things such as earthquakes, trumpet sounds in the heavens. It can affect the weather. It can do all kinds of things. And they know about this, again, because what? They study nature and then copy it to make technologies to use against us. Worldwide, this ain't about Americans. This ain't about Iranians, Russians, Japanese, black, white, red, orange, pink, or yellow. It ain't about none of that. It's about you're not in their group. You're not of their bloodline. Therefore, you got to go. We might keep a few slaves around, like maybe keep around a total of 500 million. Like the Georgia Guidestones said. Oh, and by the way, I found where the Georgia Guidestones are at. They actually were found. And I'll have to do another video to show you the images of them. But you can actually see them from the satellite, from like Google Earth kind of thing. And close-up photos. But the Georgia Guidestones that were down in Georgia until a couple of years ago when they got blowed up, they stated that they wanted to maintain global population at 500 million. Remember that? And some of you will remember also, what was the name of the website? The website that predicted about 8 out of every 10 people would be dead by 2025. Slipping my mind at the moment, the name of the website, but I've shown it. Y'all guys know what I'm talking about, most of you anyways. So, is there a plan to dominate the world? If you can't agree with that, and it ain't got nothing to do with what country or who's the bad guy. The bad guy is this class of elitists that believe they are like God, and they're playing it out. They're trying to be like God and bring a lot of our demises upon us. And I did want to say, in reference to the possibility of a new planned demonic, that if that does happen, it won't be an actual invisible thing that might get you sick and kill you. Okay, I haven't had a cold in, I don't know, 20 years, 25 years. You know, when I stopped allowing anybody to give me snake bites in the arm, after that, I stopped getting sick. Now, my voice is a little raspy right now, but it does this every spring. A lot of pollen and stuff. But I haven't been sick in 20, 25 years. I don't think that's a coincidence. And as long as you stay away from their advice and basically kind of do the opposite, or just don't do anything at all, you're going to be a lot better off. But they now have their venom from those snake bites in a lot of people. And it wasn't put in there to help them. It was put in there for a number of reasons. One is the altering of the DNA, the changing of the genetics. It is what it is. And unfortunately, no, I am not the judge, but I have fear that those people are going to be used in some of the upcoming events, whether it be in the next planned demonic, which Mr. Billy Gates, you know, he's back on the scene again. He's doing videos again and talking about like he was on The View. Thank you, Super Dave, for pointing that out. He was on The View talking about, you know, the incoming next planned demonic. So let's keep going. All right, I'm going to skip forward because I already explained what she's doing, of course, with doing the clicking thing. As you can see from the words down there, it's starting to kind of trip out. And she's having a little fit. And something like this could play out. There's a reason why they put this in the scene. It may have something to do with the last planned demonic and the people that are going to be affected by it. We don't know how that's going to play out into their plans that are coming. We're going to have to see, you might say. And then, of course, everybody has one of these enemy devices in their hands, and they're watching her live on the news, of course. And it's a strange thing that we all have these devices. I have one. I'm as guilty as you. And I try to use it for good, But it's a strange thing that we all have one. They want everybody to have one, even if they've got to give it away for free. They want everybody to have one, don't they? Remember the Obama phones? They were giving them out for free. They're still doing that. There's still programs and things out there where you can get them for free. If you can't afford them, you got to have a phone. Need you to be connected, right? And I'm sure there's a reason. And it ain't just propaganda. They never do anything with one single goal. It's always multiple. And this guy claims he can understand what she's saying with all the clicking and noise and stuff like that. She says, "What's happening to me?" And they don't give you a lot because this is just a trailer. He says, people are starved for the truth. Well, the problem with being starved is sometimes you'll eat things that you shouldn't eat. Sometimes you'll consume things, take things in, maybe even believe things that you should not. Don't listen to any one source. Don't listen just to me. Don't take everything I say as it being like the Word of God. Yes, I'm doing my best, but you cannot just listen to other people and just make a decision based on what they said, because you have got to live with your choices. They don't. You do. Make your decisions carefully. My policy is I don't make any decision or choice until I have to. You understand? So they start hunting people down, and then there's all these non-humans that are involved that show up, and they're holographic images. Is how it looks to me in the movie. Let me see if I can get this to work. He wants her to come over and sit down. Okay. We'll go forward here in just a second, but I can't let it play very much at all. But we'll look at it because he is a holographic projection. You see where he's sitting right now? He's in this lab with all this medical equipment or something hooked up to him. And she's at a table, and he's being holographically projected at the table with her, but he's not there. You see how this is starting to tie in a little bit? Look. She sits down at the table. I'm going to frame by frame forward here. And there he is. But he's not there. They're showing you it's a holographic projection. She can see him. She believes he's real. He's a hologram. But he's so convincing, and that may be a consideration we need to think about, that they may even have the ability to project holographic people into an environment from above. We don't know the level of their technology. The closest thing we can almost do is look at movies like, or series movies like Star Trek. Did they have a holodeck? Did they have an area they called the holodeck where they could go and everything looked completely real, but the room was empty, and they could even interact with the things on the holodeck? Couldn't they? I would say they've got it. The whatever we think they have, they've got 100 times higher more. You understand? They only tell us what they want us to know. Here you're looking at them telling you that they can make a hologram look real. See? She sees him. She believes he's real. He's sitting at the table, but they just showed us he's not there. What do you think that means? This movie's about disclosure. It's about aliens coming. But there's holograms going on. I smell a rat. Let's look at his face again. Interesting eyes, of course. He's wearing a suit that looks like it's the color of the Wizard of Oz kind of thing. Very strange, of course. And she's staring at him. But as you can see, he's not there. He's here connected up to this, whatever all this stuff is. And he's holding something in his hand. Haven't thought about it a lot. What do y'all guys think that is in his hand? They show it again here in a second. And here he's got this big light behind him, TV screen with her on it. That's the same girl that was sitting at the table. That's her here again. And he's also sitting at the table with her, talking to her, and she believes he's real. See, she's interacting with whatever he has in his hand. She has it in her hand. She can feel it. She believes it's real, but it's not there. Where are they at with their holographic technology ability at this point? If you think about the movie The Matrix and the little boy that bent the spoon, and he said that you have to believe it. He said that the spoon, he had supposedly a real spoon in his hand, and he was able to bend it with his mind, and he told Neo, you have to make yourself believe that the spoon is not real. So what if you believed that the spoon was real, but actually it wasn't there, it was a hologram? Could your mind be tricked into believing, like in her case, that she's holding that orange thing in her hand? And he has that thing in his hand there, as you can see, and then he smacks his hands together for whatever reason. Not quite sure. And then they apparently go to another scene when she was a child. Apparently. Haven't seen the movie because it's not out yet, I don't think. And everything in this movie, everything in this scene is all on purpose. Nothing is there that should not be there. They chose everything, including the wallpaper. See, the wallpaper is butterflies. Why do you think it's butterflies? Some of you know, right? Some of you know. Why do they have this little thing above her head like a child would or a baby would? You know, a little carousel. I forget what they call them. See, the butterfly, of course, it has to do with the human mind and controlling and learning about the human mind. And then they've got a stag in here. I guess kind of like a elk, which is also very meaningful. And then they've got games here in the background. I can't quite make out the titles exactly. We'll move forward here for a moment. You notice also there's a reflection on the ceiling, or should we say a shadow on the ceiling here. It's significant. All this is, but I haven't sat and studied this ahead of time. Not much, but I can see it playing out. So the question is the elk or the stag, is it real? Or does she just believe it's real? And therefore, to her, perception is reality, you see? Just like I've said on a lot of these. You see, the goal. Master the heavens by 2030. Command the vision and control the future. Perception is reality. You see? So what they're doing in this movie is they're mixing holographic technology mixed in with aliens coming. You see, the stag and the bird are not real. She sees them and she believes they are real. You starting to pick up what I'm putting down? Similar thing going on here, mixed in with a little high-pet goat and the upside down world from Stranger Things. See all the little particles floating in the air? Let's back up and we'll see it again. I'll have to stop it. Can't let it play very long, or you know what'll happen. My video can be taken down. So let's go again. See all the particles? That's a scene made by AI. They chose to have the particles. It was snowing upside down. You get it? Look again. I'm just going frame by frame for a second here to try to avoid copyright. Here we are. See the snow on the ground, just like an iPet goat. And the flakes in the sky floating just like an iPet goat. And you also see it like in Stranger Things, an alternate realm. Something similar in a way to the upside down. Is that where we're headed? Are they going to alter reality so substantially that it's like the upside down, or similar, maybe a little milder? I don't know for sure. I know that even the us that know, even you that's listening to my voice right now and being warned ahead of time, I know that this is coming. Do I know exactly how it's going to play out? Not exactly, but I'm showing you here that it's got to do with all this technology, all the satellite stuff is to create this grand illusion worldwide where they can insert things that you'll believe that are there and real, but they're not. You see? The 79-year terror campaign of lies has to end. Because the people want truth. They're hungry for it. So when this upside down world truth is given to them, they're going to be eager to believe it. Unfortunately. Let's see. I don't know what that scene was. Looked like inside of almost like in a boat or something. I don't know what y'all guys see. Maybe leave a comment below. Matter of fact, I would love for you to leave plenty of comments, whatever you want, whatever you think. Nobody's going to attack you. If I see that going on, I'll be getting rid of them. And on top of that, don't worry about what other people think of you. You know what you know, you believe what you believe, and that's all that matters. What other people think about you does not matter at all. As soon as you start understanding that, the sooner you stop believing that what other people think matters, once you stop that, you'll find a new freedom. And now we've got what? The men in black coming, I guess. Wanted to see what the license plate might have been. They always like to do that. There's one coming on the left. It looks like 32 or 32. I can't quite. RIP 32. I'm not quite sure. Just looking at what I can see, because I've already seen a lot that is very interesting, that ties directly to the work I'm doing here with Operation Sky Eye. Full disclosure to the whole world. See, they said the whole world. Full disclosure to the whole world. That means whatever they're getting ready to do is going to be a worldwide event that people are going to believe. They're telling us right here. And they also tell us, you'll see here in a moment, that it'll change global order. You know, like, you know, they want what's been called the New World Order, this kind of thing. They're saying here that this alien deception, just like Papa Bush said, or excuse me, it was Reagan that said in the beginning of this video about the aliens threat coming from outer space that would unite humanity. Yep. That's what they're up to. That is absolutely what they're up to. There's the dude again. Doesn't have blue eyes anymore. Sitting in a chair. Controlling something. But supposedly he's not human. From what I can pick up from what I've seen. See the screen behind him? And they've got another room that has 1,000 screens in it. And they're watching and tracking people, mainly, and events. You see the screen in the background? They're monitoring everything. There go his eyes tripping out. And there goes what I said a moment ago about the order across the entire world. Let's back it up a little bit. Full disclosure to the whole world. Okay, it should say it here in a second. I apologize, I have to pause a little bit. I could edit this, but it would just be a nightmare. It increased my workload more than I already have. You can only imagine the workload that I'm trying to do right now to get y'all guys on top of this. That truth will upend all established. That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. So this next event they're doing will be worldwide. It involves holographics. I've shown it to you right here in their movie, Disclosure Day. We also know that this is about aliens or some alien entity that would be coming, right? Pretending to be our savior, maybe? Maybe Antichrist even kind of thing? Very good possibility. Let's look a little closer at this scene. Military-esque type guys, that same couple of dudes up to something, of course. That you have to ask also, are these holograms? But all of this even could be just AI creating this entire movie. We don't know. So they've turned the power off at some place. Some kind of a, oh, see up here? Those are pillows. The kind of pillows like they have at the White House. That's what it looks like. There's another one over here. But then you've got all this electrical, a substation kind of thing going on here. Oh, and it says Midwest something Creek Substation. But when did substations start having pillars like that? Unless I'm looking at it wrong. Let's keep going. Let's go back, because they like to jump really, really fast, don't they? Oh. Nuclear threat looms over the continent and the world. That's part of why they jumped so quick, didn't they? So this is a control room, media control room, kind of like what I've got going here, just not as elaborate, nowhere near as elaborate. But so there's going to be a nuclear threat looms over the continent and the world. So we got possibly that kind of thing involved. I mean, are they coming at us from all directions in this next grand delusion? Probably. All right, let's see. Turn the lights back on for a second. Okay, talking about Kansas City. Kansas City's been brought up and shown numerous times. Kansas City, Missouri, I guess. Or Kansas City, Kansas, maybe. Okay, I have to look at these images and look for symbolism. See quite a bit of purple, of course. Means nothing to some of you. It's a news broadcast, and they cut the power to the substation in the previous scene, and the lights go out. And if you do this, there's no undoing it, as they're saying here. Then somehow something happens with the train, and they get pushed onto the tracks by a man in black kind of thing, and the train dragging their car. So they got hit from behind and pushed onto the tracks. They get hit from behind by a black vehicle. Only one frame of the black vehicle, but a black Chevrolet looks like. Pushed onto the tracks. And the train hits the car and starts dragging it. So they're going after trying to kill the guy that supposedly has the information to tell the truth about actually what's really going on, supposedly, in their script. Well, that would be me probably, except for I don't have any information from them in some secret document or a USB memory file or something like that. They get dragged off. I'm not sure how exactly this plays into it much, but it does. You know, the train dragging kind of thing. I have to ponder that a little bit. See, it's snowing upside down again. She's in the upside down world. What she's looking at is likely manipulated environment, maybe even holographic, but she believes it. It's snowing upside down, like I was talking about earlier. Time they bring out Steven Spielberg, they're going for a home run, you see. Here's our butterflies again. It's all about mind manipulation, mind control. Let's back that up and look what's on that door real quick. Oh, can't see too good what's on it. Looks like a zebra. The zebra would have to do with, see, the zebra uses the pattern that it has on its body. It actually protects them. And when they're running, that pattern causes the eyes of predators to not see them. The zebra pattern. There's a word for it that relates to technology and holograms. Can't think of it at the moment either, but there's a word for it when you have that pattern that the zebra has. I'll see about looking that up, or maybe one of you guys know about it and you can put it in the comments below. See what else we see. Is they're showing us something, but most people just never take the time that you are right now to try to see and understand it. And I want y'all guys to share anything with me too that you see and understand, okay? So now she's picking up crayons. Children's crayons. And I don't know how it plays out, but it's children's crayons. And she's in a children's room. Ultimately, I know it's about mind control, holographics, making people believe something is real that is not, using trauma and fear to get a reaction, because that's what they want. They're going to give us a problem, a big one, bigger than the one in 2019, 2020. That ain't a problem compared to what they're getting ready to do. I ain't saying it's next week. But what I am saying is that it's already happening now. It's already rolling out now. They're already pulling events and doing different things. Like when the movie Disclosure Day was announced, and it talks about Area 51 and these kind of things. Apparently they had a bunch of earthquakes out there around Area 51. But what I'm saying ultimately is that what I'm telling you and showing you about what's coming is already playing out. There's a setup process, and we've been in it our entire lives. That's why I showed you all the movies going back to A Trip to the Moon to help you see that they've been manipulating your minds ever since you and anyone else that's alive was born. They've been controlling our perception of reality, and perception is reality. It doesn't matter if it's not the true reality. If you perceive it to be the true reality, then it is. And then they got the little scene here. It's kind of interesting. child looking backwards, going upside down, and then again, like upside down world, Stranger Things. You don't think these guys are all in cahoots? They absolutely are. It's like upside down world symbolism. It's making me think about Stranger Things and having the need to look at it some more at this point. If they can create holograms in space, what would stop them from being able to create holograms in public places? Not much. I don't know about indoors, but then who knows what kind of technology they have. They may have the technology like on Star Trek where they can appear to be somewheres, but they're not actually even there. I forget the term they had for that. But they could be projected there, but their physical body was still, it's kind of like the Matrix. You know, the movie The Matrix may be a better example. You know, Neo, when he was in the Matrix and running around like in our normal world that we believe is real, you know, perception being reality, he wasn't actually there. But the choices he made while he was in there affected his actual life, potentially. You know, if he died in the perception of reality, he could die in his actual reality, the true reality. You see? Asking why they did this or why they're doing this or something when the time is right, everything will become clear. Yeah, okay. Is this guy back again? Tripping out. In this case, there is what appears to be water, like some water deity or some kind of maybe even holographic, I don't know, running through the streets. You see? And I would have to say I would be curious to see this movie, but I don't see myself paying for it. I ain't putting no money in their pockets. No more than I already have to. And then it goes to this scene, the upside down world, the holographic and other technology manipulated world. And you're also looking at where the technology was gained from, understanding how the eye works, study nature, recreate it, control it. You see, that's what they do. You're also looking at not just how the eye works, you're also looking at how the world works. I told you that the sun is an eye, not a physical eye, but an energetic eye that can be seen under the right conditions. And so is the moon. The moon is not physical, it's not a rock, it's not a big ball of dirt. It's a reflective negative image projection that's natural, that God made. But they study those things, they come to understand it, and then they can recreate it, control it, and deceive the masses and be like God. You see? That's a similar scene to, forget the name of the image, but the image where the man is reaching up trying to touch the the tip of the finger of God. That painting, that old painting, you remember? That looks like that. Now, it doesn't play out exactly like that, but there's a reason why they chose to show this. The way it plays out is that that's her and him. They're going to hold hands no matter what happens, kind of thing. But there's a reason why they showed that. It's a nod to what I just told you about them being gods or trying to be God. You see, it went from this looking like a heavenly kind of situation, right? And just 2 frames later, you got this. Yep. Craziness, ain't it? It's absolutely maddening what they're getting ready to do. And then, of course, here comes the alien ship, whether physical or projected, holographic, or that type of technology. In this case, of course, this is AI created imagery in reality. But when this happens, it will likely be somewhat similar to this. There is a reason why they're showing it to us. And will it be holographic, or will it be an actual ship that is man-made? There are no ships made by angels that they fly around. There are no ships made by fallen angels or demons that they fly around. Everything that's here is the reverse engineering of nature. Yet angels and demons and things of that supernatural nature are real. I can testify and know for sure that they absolutely are real. So that's kind of a final scene of what we're going to see. Now, so far this month, I have, so far as support for my work, I've received 2 sponsors, Diane M. and David Q. And my work, y'all guys sponsoring my work and sponsoring videos that are upcoming. Anybody who makes a donation before I put out my next video will be credited as the sponsor or producer of that next work because, well, you are. Because I can't make it without you guys, without going and doing something else. But I want to do this. I want to keep bringing this work, doing this research, doing what I've been doing for 16 years. And I'm able to do it with y'all guys. Just simple, small donations are greatly appreciated to sponsor my work. Thank you again, Diane. Thank you, David. And I hope y'all guys, I say this, I hope y'all guys understand why I'm doing this, why I'm trying to show you these things. I'm trying to prepare.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.